So today we're going to talk about the power of information, really, the importance of information, the importance of transparency for markets, for the smooth functioning of markets. And we do that looking specifically at the work of AMIS. We're going to do that in two parts. We're going to talk a little bit about what AMIS is, why it was created, how it is functioning, to familiarize you a little bit with this instrument. And then we're going to look at how the system really functioned and whether or not delivered on the promises that people had when it was created. So in a nutshell, AMIS was created in 2011 on the heels of the 2007-2008 food price crisis. It's maybe a bit difficult to see here. In the background of this slide, you see the FAO food price index over the past 30 years or so. This is our barometer of how international food prices are evolving. And as you can see, there was a long period of relative calmness. When in 2007-08, there was a rather sudden and very abrupt and strong spike in prices. And that continued until 2010, 2011. And that led G20 leaders and then the ministers of agriculture of G20 countries to create AMIS with the objective to enhance food market transparency, to provide regular updates on the supply and demand situation of basic food crops. And we focus here on wheat, maize, rice, and soybeans. And that is also very important, to provide a platform for effective, regular policy dialogue, technical dialogue also, of the main producing and consuming countries of these commodities. Prices did come down and stayed also relatively low, but we just experienced another crisis situation, and AMIS really had its first real test already during the COVID period, but then with the war in Ukraine even more so. From what we hear from policymakers, given the recent experiences, there was a need to further strengthen the system and maybe even expand it. And we're now also going into other markets beyond wheat, maize, rice, and soybeans to cover fertilizer and vegetable oils, and to also look more closely at food trade logistics. AMIS is a global initiative. As I said, it comes from the G20. It's not limited to the G20, and it's uniting really the main market players around the globe for the crops that we're monitoring. AMIS is hosted by FAO. As I mentioned, this is where I am based in Rome, but it is not limited and owned by FAO. It is made up of 9 other international organizations that are forming the interagency secretariat. You see the logos listed below there. And if you're familiar with some of these logos, you will recognize that these are also really the main international organizations that are active in the monitoring and policy dialogue related to agriculture production, agriculture markets. So a very strong network also of international organizations. And we're working together, or we try to, that's at least our ambition, in a truly collaborative spirit. That is starting with the Secretariat. That is quite a unique setup that 10 international organizations on a regular basis coordinate their information and agree on a common message. Everything that is produced by AMIS is released in the name of the AMIS Secretariat, not under each individual's organization brand. And we have the same type of spirit for collaboration also among the AMIS participants. And we do that in several groups. For the Secretariat, we have a Secretariat Steering Committee, and we have, which is headed by the Secretary. Then on the country side, we have a technical working group, which is called the Global Food Market Information Group. And on the policy side, what is called the Rapid Response Forum. And both are headed by a chair country, which is elected for a 1-year term. As I said, our main bread and butter is really to provide regular information on a timely basis, relevant information. We have as our main output the AMIS Market Monitor that comes out 10 times a year. And then we have more regular online resources, databases, dashboards, and so forth, also policy dashboard database, all providing the most up-to-date and correct information that we know from the countries, in dialogue with the countries, but also in dialogue with other information providers. But we're doing much more. In order to, first of all, get better information from the countries, we are also trying to strengthen capacities in countries at national levels. We're working very closely with designated focal points in these countries. We've had several activities, multi-year capacity building projects in Bangladesh, India, Nigeria, Philippines, Thailand. We've had an exchange program specifically geared towards the focal points in a number of countries. We're producing reference materials, guidance materials. We're trying to harmonize our methodologies, and we organize on a regular basis workshops, and now in the post-COVID period, even more so, online seminars, webinars, and so forth. And with all this information, we don't stop there. We try to bring it really to the attention of the policymakers. We promote policy dialogue and information exchange. It's a frank discussion. Some of our meetings are close to the public to really allow an open dialogue and exchange of information. Also, critical views can be voiced there. But this is all done in a highly collaborative and partnership spirit. We have been put to the test several times. Already in 2012, there were calls for AMIS to organize a rapid response forum since there was a drought in the US in the Black Sea region, seriously threatening outputs there. In 2020, much more closer to heart and in people's memory still, the COVID crisis, which created a lot of uncertainty also on food markets. And then most recently, the Ukraine war starting in 2022. And in all that, AMIS is credited for acting swiftly and effectively and helping to calm markets.